AMD CEO Lisa Su was on CNBC for about 10 minutes here today, and I got a chance to catch this clip, and so I recorded it for you guys here, and I thought I would react to this one in today's video, which obviously today was a huge day for AMD, and really kind of what their future is around AI. A lot of people view AMD as being kind of a lagger behind NVIDIA right now, and that NVIDIA is just beating them to the AI race. And so I'm looking forward to kind of reacting to this one with you guys, kind of giving my 2 cents on this. We'll also speak about AMD's valuation in this video, kind of talk about, is this stock an opportunity now? Is it not an opportunity? What's the risk here? And those sorts of things. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video. As always, I appreciate y'all joining me. Man, I don't even know what the subscriber number is, but it's a record. That's all I know, okay? It's a record like every single day, so I appreciate every single person for being here as always. If you're looking to apply to join my private group, check out the description area down there. That'll be to apply to join us in there, okay? And yeah, let's go ahead and get into it.
Thank you, Morgan, and thank you, Lisa. Congratulations on today's event. There really was a crowd. You saw the excitement when you mentioned AI. You had everybody lean forward and snap some photos, and you said, I love this chip. And you also said, we love this chip. But you said, I love this chip. And you were referring to the next generation GPU. Can you just elaborate on why this chip is so important in this period of time, and the whole sampling thing, only in Q3? So is that a little slow? Tell me about that.
Oh, well, look, Christina, first of all, thank you for being here. It's been in person, right? Yes, it's been a tremendous day for us. We're super excited with all that we talked about for data center and AI. And look, as you said, I mean, AI is the defining megatrend for technology right now. Like, everybody's talking about AI. We've been working on this roadmap for many, many years. You know, MI300 is our newest generation chip, and you know, frankly, it's incredible. I mean, the amount of technology we have on this, 153 billion transistors. It's really designed. You know, everybody's talking about ChatGPT and large language models. MI300 is actually designed exactly for this use case, and so we're really, really excited about it. We've been really, you know, customers are super excited about it, and you know, we're working closely with them. We will sample in the third quarter, and we'll be in production by the end of the year.
Who is them? Well, you said it, so.
Well, first of all, we had a number of partners here today.
I know. We saw AWS, Meta, Citadel. There's a list of VPs here, but who are your customers for that particular chip?
What we see is there's a tremendous demand for GPUs in AI space for both training and inference. We work with all of the largest cloud manufacturers, as well as many of the largest enterprise guys. And so, you know, the key is let's get these products to market as fast as possible. We're actually very differentiated, Christina. So when you think about what you need on this, not only do you need a lot of computing, but you also need a lot of memory and a lot of memory bandwidth. And that's what MI300X does. It actually brings best-in-class, so best-in-class capability for inference of large language models, and everybody wants more GPUs.
Everyone wants more GPUs, and this is...
So it's very important for all the other big tech companies. It's very important that AMD succeeds, okay? And so just keep in mind that all the other big tech companies are honestly rooting for AMD. And the reason being is you don't want to just have NVIDIA be the only successful guys in the AI market. If that happens on the chip side, if that happens, you are going to pay ridiculous prices for NVIDIA products as a bottom line. So people need AMD to be successful to keep NVIDIA's prices somewhat realistic. You guys have probably heard many of these NVIDIA chips are going for anywhere between, I've heard $10,000, I've heard $30,000, even more than $30,000. Never mind that, when you combine them all together and you need all the tech for those chips to all work together, that's another huge amount. So NVIDIA is going to be raking in money for, you know, a while here until AMD really is able to be a serious competitor to what NVIDIA has in the market today. As AMD gets there, it's going to be great for all the big tech companies. So it's very important to understand a lot of people are rooting for AMD that are now part of AMD, but they need this company to succeed. You don't want to have just NVIDIA be here, I'm telling you, or NVIDIA is going to make so much money, it's ridiculous. And one other thing I want to touch on here, because obviously you're kind of looking at this and she's talking about this, and I'm sure a lot of people are trying to figure out, like, is AMD actually like 6 months behind NVIDIA, a year behind NVIDIA, 2 years, 3 years? You know, that's what we have trouble figuring out, right? The one thing I'll say about Lisa Su and the team they have at AMD is they're damn good. And I can tell you, that, you know, you can doubt them, but usually they come through. I mean, I remember looking into AMD stock. This is probably 2015 or so. I remember looking into AMD stock, and it was less than $2 a share. I think it was like $1.91 or something like that. It was in the gulag. It was I know it's hard to think like AMD, like this amazing company, it was in the gulag. Yes, they were under $5 for a long time, as in years. And this company was down and out. And what Sue and the team's been able to put together over the last 5 to 8 years has been one for the record books, just to be quite frank. So a very hard team to think they're not going to come through in this situation. They might not, but damn, it's a hard bet to bet against these guys.
You won't tell me the name of the customers, that's okay, but for the total addressable market, that's impressive. You said it's $30 billion right now in 2023. You plan to grow that to beyond $150 billion.
It's really an incredible time for technology. And what we've seen is, and we've all seen it, right? So the AI has now kind of changed the way we perceive what we're doing in every industry, in every market, for all of our productivity and business applications. So yes, today we believe it's about a $30 billion-ish dollar market, and we think it's going to grow over the next 3 or 4 years more than 50% a year. So we see like $150 billion by the time we
50% a year. So from 30 billion to 150 billion over the next few years. That's a pretty massive number.
To 2027. For just this incredible technology.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And I know I want to bring in Morgan and John too, just for this conversation.
Hey, Lisa, it's John Ford. Good to see you. Tell us more about your AI software strategy, because
when you hear those numbers like that, right? Oh, it's going to grow from 30 billion to 150 billion. You should, as an investor, you should be a little skeptical, okay? But what I'll tell you is you got to look at who's the one making that statement. Is that individual an individual that is kind of a pumper type individual in terms of there's some of those CEOs out there that talk a good game but never back it up with numbers? I wouldn't put Lisa Su into that team. I mean, when she usually says something, it holds weight and she comes through with the numbers. And so if she says this market's going to go from 30 billion to 150 billion over the next 4 years, I got to take her at her word, because she's shown me nothing over time that is just like talking crazy. If she says it, it's more than likely going to become a reality. And that's something important to remember.
Software tools kind of accelerate demand, make your chips easier for developers to work with. What's going to make your strategy different? When can we expect to hear more about it? Are you going to acquire on your way there?
Well, John, first of all, great to talk to you again, always. And you're absolutely right. I think as important as the AI hardware is truly the AI software ecosystem. And we had some great partners on stage with us today. So we had the founder of PyTorch. We had the CEO of Hugging Face, who is really working on some of the largest language models. And what we see is, the world for software is really about, number one, we've developed a really comprehensive software capability that's optimized to our hardware. We call that the ROCm ecosystem. But on top of that, we have all of these folks in the market really developing these frameworks. And the purpose of these frameworks is actually to make it fairly easy and transparent to move between different hardware ecosystems. And then there are lots and lots of open source folks developing the models on top of that. So when you see all these pieces, we think it's a fantastic time to really bring the ecosystem together. We've put thousands and thousands of engineers on our AI software, and we have a great overall ecosystem that is really coming to life right now, because we're all trying to get AI deployed as fast as possible.
So do you go by industry in working with some of those models? We had Jensen Huang from NVIDIA on with ServiceNow's CEO just a few weeks ago, talking about developing those models with a partner. So I'm wondering if you're looking for major software companies to develop with. I know Arvind over at IBM has talked to us about Hugging Face as well. Are there areas where you think that you can make more progress than others?
We absolutely see, John, the opportunity here to partner deeply with our customers and partners. And that is, the largest cloud manufacturers, that is, model developers like Hugging Face, that is the framework developers, overall. And this is about deep partnership across the entire ecosystem. So when we see how this comes together, one of the things that is very, very important is because we're all...
Vita Coco, that's such a random company to be a public company. I had no clue they were a public company until today. That is random.
GPU technology. There are really only 2 GPU technologies out there in the ecosystem. things just run on AMD hardware, and we've spent a lot of time optimizing our software to these frameworks and models.
Lisa, it's Morgan. Great to have you on the show. Look no further than Oracle earnings yesterday to see how many different companies right now are going to great lengths to disclose their relationships with it.
Hey, if you saw my video on the main channel here today, what is this new stock I'm starting to research? What is it? It is Oracle. Spending some time, immense time over this next, I started last night and I'm really going to spend a lot of time over this next week or two, just trying to see if there's something at Oracle. Forward P at 20 on that stock. They have some incredible growth in several of their business lineups. And so I'm just trying to look at Oracle and just see, is there an opportunity here? With Oracle's, I've never owned Oracle. It's not the most exciting company traditionally. But I can tell you some of those growth rates I was seeing in several business segments, they're pretty darn exciting. So Oracle, I am spending some time on right now and trying to see if there's something there.
Yeah, and sort of get some street cred in terms of how serious they are about building out their own AI applications right now. I wonder what you think it's going to take for that type of dynamic to start playing out where companies are flexing their muscles to really race and say that they're working with AMD on this too. What is it going to take, I guess, essentially to really meaningfully take out more market share?
Yes, Morgan, great to talk to you. And, we're really, really proud of our customer relationships. We had AWS on stage together talking about new EC2 instances with our 4th generation EPYC. We had Meta on stage talking about our relationship and what they're doing with our newest Bergamo cloud native processors. We had Citadel on stage. We had PyTorch. We had Hugging Face. We had Microsoft Azure on the HPC side. We love partnering with our customers. Oracle's a fantastic partner. Actually, they just announced that they're also adopting our 4th generation EPYC processor. And so the way we think about this is an entire ecosystem. We do partner very deeply with our customers, and you're going to see a lot more from us.
You hear all those companies you just name dropped there? Here's the thing. Almost all those same companies work with NVIDIA also. And so when I say it's extremely important for all those massive other players that it's not just NVIDIA in this game and that AMD wins too, it's very important for them, okay? You do not want to have NVIDIA just have a monopoly in this industry. And because I'm telling you, NVIDIA is just going to be able to get stupid money forever and ever. If you can have also AMD, I don't know. Should we have any hope for Intel? I don't know, man. I don't know if we'll have any hope for Intel in terms of them playing in AI much. But you need several different players. The more players that can be successful, the more you can keep pricing somewhat down, right? And these companies can make money, but not like extraordinary margins. Because at the end of the day, like if you have the opportunity to make the craziest margins possible as a business, you're going to do that, right?
As we talk about AI, and the thing about AI that I want to mention is we're at the very, very early stages. It's an incredible market. I think this is a market that's going to, really need technology over the next few years, and we're very proud of what we're bringing to the market, and also the partnerships that we have to bring those things to the market.
There's a narrative in the market right now, or at least among investors, that AI is a secular growth story, regardless of the macroeconomic climate right now. Do you see it the same way?
I absolutely do. I think, AI is helping to make all of us more productive, more capable. It touches every industry. So I do believe it's a secular growth driver. I also believe it's a market where you're going to have multiple winners and that it's going to play out over the next few years. And it's all about partnership and co-innovation and co-development.
I just have two quick last questions. One is, should we see an influx in orders with TSMC given this big push forward and your TAM of $150 billion?
Good question.
We definitely really appreciate our partnerships with our foundry manufacturers. I think we've done very well in terms of overall, supply in the supply chain, and so we're going to continue managing that well.
Okay. Well, speaking of that, just the supply chain, China, are you concerned of just removing presence in China? There might be more bans coming. Any thoughts on that?
Well, I would say, first and foremost, we are very cognizant of the dynamic and the geopolitical environment and, all of that. That being the case, China is an important market for us. And,
By the way, you might see this move from $60 roughly at the start of the year to, basically double up since then, or roughly double up, right? And you might see that and say, bubble is just AI bubble, right? And it's very easy to write it off as that. But to be quite frank, AMD entered this year extraordinarily undervalued. When you look at what AMD has for long-term growth in front of that company, and you looked at the valuation going into this year, I mean, the stock was a steal deal. I wanted to buy AMD stock. The problem was there was a million other stocks I also wanted to buy, and that was the tough part. That's the tough part of when you got a market where there's all these deals everywhere. It's like, do I buy AMD or do I buy Tesla? Do I buy Tesla or do I buy Amazon? Do I buy Amazon or do I buy Palantir? Like, that's the tough thing when you got all these steal deals everywhere. It's like, where's the best place to put my money? And there's a lot of opportunities. But the bottom line is AMD entered this year very undervalued. It was silly. And that stock had a long way to climb this year, regardless of this whole AI excitement and those sorts of things. It was just way undervalued.
We have a lot of our consumer-facing products going into China, and we'll make sure that we evaluate it as we go.
Lisa, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate it.
All right.
John?
Yes, thanks to you both. Christina?
Yeah, so before I get into kind of AMD's valuation, if I think the stock's a good buy, and those sorts of things, Leo, let me just kind of grade the interview. I thought the interview was pretty decent. I think, it could always be better. But Lisa Su and Jensen Huang over at NVIDIA, they always remind me very similar of each other. And it's funny, their speaking tonality, everything about them, it's very similar. And they can almost kind of like lull you to sleep a little bit. It's weird. Like there's like an excitement there, but it's like they can almost like focus a conversation on a little bit something without having to answer as directly as possible. And it's fascinating to see how kind of those two people speak, because they both do the same exact thing. And usually I would say, well, that's kind of might not be the best trait, but they always put the numbers up. So it's not like you can look at it from like a sketchy angle, because at the end of the day, both those teams, Jensen's team and obviously what Lisa has over at AMD, like they both put the numbers up, man. It's not like those stock prices have gone up hundreds of percent, thousands of percent for no reason. It's for damn good reason. It's because they backed it with the revenues, they backed it with the margins, and they backed it with the net income. And, that is what it is, okay? So, now in terms of AMD, is the stock undervalued, overvalued? What do I kind of think about it, okay? I think AMD's pretty fairly valued right now. It looks expensive if you're just going to look at, based upon this year's numbers. It trades over a little over double what the market trades at. But let's be honest, AMD is going to grow far exceeding double what the market on average is going to grow, okay? So I think it's at a very fair valuation based upon 2024 numbers at about a 31 forward P. But, I mean, it's very possible, folks, the EPS number you're seeing there, $4.16, it's very possible that number is far too low. And they could come in with a $5 or $6 number next year. I wouldn't be surprised. AMD has crushed numbers in the past. And with all the excitement going on in the AI space, if they really execute here, don't be surprised if they absolutely blow those numbers away. So I think AMD's a pretty fair buy right now. Obviously, it's even a greater buy at $60, like it was entering the year 60 something, right? But that's not always realistic. The bottom line is you got to look at what you got in front of you. And at the end of the day, I look at this company's valuation. I think it's very fair and you got to remember, you're getting one of the best management teams in the world with one of the best companies in the world. And that's pretty magnificent, folks. So, you might not be able to be part of one of the greatest management teams in the world, but you can be part of one of the greatest private stock groups in the world, folks. So that's going to be in the description area if you want to apply to join us in there and take your investing game up to the next level. Appreciate everybody joining me as always. Thanks for being subscribed, folks. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Much love and have a great day.